Ernest is a hard-working yellow diesel engine who is very useful on Mr. Newton's railway. He is in charge of the shunting yards at the big station. He normally spends all of his time there, but now and again, he is allowed to go deliver his freight cars to take to some stations as he usually does, like Mark did. Ernest likes his usual jobs because it makes him feel responsible. Sometimes, he is sent to work on Andrew's branch line to help out, and he is to take passengers up and down the line through the view of the countryside. Mark and Ethan sometimes help Ernest with the hard work, but sometimes Ernest feels overworked and gets very tired. One day, Ernest was taking a long train of freight cars to the harbor. He arrived in good time, but he was feeling exhausted. "Hello, Ernest. You look tired."
"Ugh, I am. I hardly ever have help at the quarry, and the stone orders have been so high lately. Ugh, I tell you, I hardly manage to keep time."
This reminds me of what I feel overwork as well. I hardly ever have worked in the yards at the big station myself, until Andrew came along to bring Felix to help me. He's a real useful tractor that can manage shunting without the cars playing tricks on him. Remember that one last time I told you about?
"Yes, Mark, I do. But right now, it doesn't solve my troubles."
Ernest rose sadly away. Later, Ernest returned to the quarry. Andrew arrived with some workmen. "Hello, Ernest. How are you?"
"I'm just tired, Andrew. It's too much work at times here."
"I know how you feel. It happens to me when I feel like I'm sort of a retiring engine. Lately, when I've come to fetch Johnny's coaches, I have troubles with my fire that had not been heated properly. That's when I end up breaking down. Luckily, the workmen were able to fix it by the time I got time to finish the yard. People say I'm old-fashioned, but I don't care. Mr. Newton says I'm a useful engine. And don't worry, Ernest, I'm sure you're useful enough to work with all the jobs you had to do once you'll be getting plenty of rest." Ernest smiled.
"I know, Andrew, but I just sometimes wish I could have some help."
Andrew pondered for a moment. Then, that gave him an idea. The next day, Ernest was busy preparing the goods train for Ethan to take to Lumberton Station. He was just about to prepare the coaches for Megan's Express when he heard an unfamiliar whistle. "That's funny. I've never heard of a whistle like that before. Where have I heard it before?" There was a puffing sound, and then, around the bend on the main line, came a strange-looking tank engine. He had a shiny black paintwork and had red wheels like Ernest's. He was a similar shape to other tank engines, but he is a Markman engine no one has ever seen. Ernest was surprised to see who it was.
"Stevie? Is that you?" "Hello, Ernest. It's been a long time. How are things with you?"
"They're officially okay, but I'm just having troubles when it comes to lots of work that needs to be done. And boy, I can't imagine how I've rushed off my wheels lately. That's how it starts."
"Not to worry.
Now that I'm here, Mr. Newton sent me to live on the West London as your helper at this yard or at the quarry."
"Really?"
"Of course. That's what friends are for. I'm here to stay, and I'm looking forward to it." Ernest was happy. From that day on, Ernest and Stevie, who quickly proved himself a real useful engine, took turns each day. One would take the freight cars of stone to the harbor, and the other would prepare each train. Stevie sometimes often takes his fully loaded freight cars down to the main line and greeted the other engines there, who were pleased to see him. Ernest never felt overworked anymore, and he was very happy with his old friend, who both were then reunited.